So we're on to our preparations to work on Carolina here. Good football team that lost a close game last week against Cleveland. In terms of the guys on our roster right now, we'll have 3 guys that won't participate in practice. McLeod, Robinson, and Robinson, 2 Robinsons. A-Rob had an appendix removed today, so he'll be out for the game. We wish him well, full recovery. So that's that. The other 2 guys are getting better day to day. Jordan, you here?
Gotcha.
Day to day? Okay. And then limited participation will be Z's, Feliciano, Pinnock, and Thibodeau. They're all getting better, so we'll see where they're at. And then full participation will be Belton. So that's kind of where we're at. Early down day, a lot to work on. New opponent. Got to learn their strengths, their weaknesses. Need a good look from our show team, which we had last week, which was a really important factor for getting ready for Tennessee. And with that, I'll open it up.
Expect to have Belton this week because he's full.
Yeah.
Aaron, is that? I don't know. On an appendix, could that be more than 1 week?
I have no. I don't know. I mean, I had a cousin who had it in it. I can't tell you how long. I don't know if anybody can really tell you how long when it comes to that. It's just wish him well. Took care of it as soon as we could, and next man up mentality.
Following a win, is there a bounce that?
Go ahead, sorry, Bruce.
Following a win, is there a bounce? Is there a feeling around the facility that you can feel?
I think, again, just to go back to what I talked about the day after, it's always better coming in after a win, but you got to make it about what you need to work on. It's a long season, and I think our guys have done a good job of turning the page and focusing on the things which are important, which is the process, our preparation, our practice for today.
Brian, you said next man up at corner. Who is the next man up?
It'll be just like all the other positions that we've done. We have guys on the roster, whether on the practice squad, that are going to compete. Flott, Moreau, McLeod. We'll see where he's at. Zion, Lane. So we got a group in there that'll work to compete, and we'll end up picking like we usually do on Friday evening usually.
What do you think of Mayfield's career to this point, and also what kind of challenges he presents now in this new setting he's got?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into his whole career. I'll just say that when I was getting ready when we drafted Josh, did a ton of work on Baker. I got a tremendous amount of respect for him. I spent a lot of time with him in the pre-draft process. He's got a very live arm. He's a gamer. Every situation for a young quarterback, we've talked about this at length, is different. And he's a good football player. He's been a winner, and I think he's doing a good job here with Carolina.
What are the pros? Do you plan on doing the same thing at left guard this week? And what are the pros and cons of doing it that way?
We'll see. We'll rotate him here in practice, and then by Friday evening we'll make a decision. But Azudu's a young player that we're developing, and Bredesen has done a good job throughout camp of playing every position that we asked him to. So they both earned it. They earned it with their preparation. They earned it with their practice habits, and they both deserve to play. We'll see how it goes this week. Could be the same, could be different.
When did you realize you were going to do that? When did you realize it?
We usually talk about how we're going to exactly play the guys. Friday evening after the last day of practice on Friday, to give it a full evaluation, let them go through every practice, make sure we review the tests that we give out, that they understand the material. There's a whole thought process that goes into it, and I'll talk to the offensive staff or the defensive staff, give them my input, and then collectively make a decision on it.
Coach, can you talk about the differences Christian McCaffrey poses as far as challenges versus a Derrick Henry?
Yeah, two very, very good players in that position. McCaffrey is a dynamic with the ball in his hand as well. Maybe a little bit different. Obviously doesn't have the size, but he's a hard player to cover. He's very, very good in space. He can take it to distance anytime he touches the ball. They can line him up at 1, 2, 3 in the backfield. He can break tackles, but he's very athletic. He's a unique player in the fact that he can do a lot of things playing that running back position, but he can also do them on the perimeter if they choose to use him.
They're very careful with the number of snaps and kind of touches that he's getting. I'm wondering where you stand on how you approach that with Saquon. How much do you use analytics? How do you go about deciding, what's the right amount and what could be too much for guys that are?
No, that's a good question.
Injury prone.
Sure, no, I understand it completely. I'd say it's dictated kind of how the game plan goes, but also the flow of the game. And there's times where Saquon came out last game and Breida went right in there and ran the ball well. In terms of a number, Jordan, I don't go into the game and saying, hey, let's get him 50 plays or let's get him 20 touches. I think, that's an adjustment part of the game too. Obviously, he's a very good player. You want him to touch the ball. But again, how he's feeling, how you're communicating on the sideline, hey, I need a series here or I need to, we just talk about it that way. We're going to just give him this.
On a bigger scale, is there anything like season-wise that or that you come into the season looking at with him? Or?
No. I mean, he's been healthy. He's been fully cleared. He's been out here. We do that in practice. And we took some stuff off him in the preseason with the hits that, he'll probably accrue here. I think we'll constantly evaluate that with the medical staff and the strength staff if we need to do something different. At this point, week 2, he's fresh, he's healthy. So based on how the game's going, I think that'll dictate a lot of it.
Brian, did you this was the first time, obviously in the summer, you're not really game planning, you're putting in this whole new offense. This was the first, real thing. How do you think Daniel handled that whole process? And did you learn anything from him in that first game? Because that's the first game you actually, he had to do what you asked him to do.
Sure. You try to mock it, during camp with scripts and things like that relative to what he likes and doesn't like, and have that open line of communication. He's always going to be the first one in and the last one to leave. I thought he had really good input as to some of the things that, maybe we threw out. We've done this throughout the summer, but he's up there every day, meet with Mike. I don't like this, or think about this one. He gives good input. And again, if there's plays that you like as a coaching staff that you think, hey, this would be a really good play against this defense. Sometimes I've been around players like, well, I don't like that play. Well, let me show you the reason why we have it in. And then if you still don't like it after we practice it, no problem. But he's done a really good job preparing, which is no surprise. And then, he's been in here early. Today he's been working on it for the last couple of days.
What about the game itself, though? Was there any play or anything that he had to handle? You said, maybe the run or something, that's a kind of a bold move with the run there or something?
No, in terms of decisions and the things that we asked him to do, whether it was a check or get out of something, he was all over it.
Brian, did you have the left guard situation? Would you prefer, in an ideal world, for there to be continuity there, where one guy separates himself and you have one guy in there the whole game?
Usually that'll happen, sometime during the year. But I think, again, I'll just say it again, they've earned the right to do it. They've earned the right to play with their performance on the practice field, with their consistency, with how they handle things. They both, we feel, give us a chance to win, and we think that was the best thing to do for that game. Now, does that change in week 2 or week 3 or week 4? Certainly it could. But the communication with those players, they're really good. Both of them are really good. They're on top of their stuff. They know what to do. They communicate well with the tackle, with the center. So those guys, they both deserved that game for that opportunity.
Brian, do you have to tell your guys or remind your guys to keep an even keel? It's only one win. We know that Giant fans are ecstatic right now. Do you have to let them know that?
Yeah, we talked about that on Monday. I think they're fully aware of it. It's the National Football League, and haven't been part of it a long time for myself. But even if you're only part of it as a young player for a couple years, I think they understand that. 1 week really has nothing to do with the next week. It's a one-game season every week. Teams are very, very good. So we have to focus on improving our skill set and doing the things that we didn't do well enough that game, and improve that throughout the course of this week. And it'll happen the same thing next week, regardless of the result. Let's just keep a positive mindset, and let's communicate with one another on the things we need to work on. Let's make sure coaching-wise we're doing the drills we need to work on that come from the first game that we didn't do well. Maybe we did something last week in an individual drill that, we really need to do it different this week. We don't keep it the same, based on how we played and the things we got to work on. So I think staying in the moment for everybody in our organization is important, and focusing on, the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
Von Dale, are you waiting on any more tests to determine the severity of his injury?
No, not right now. He's grinding back. I mean, I'd say the difference of him from the day after the game to even today is pretty significant. So we'll see how it goes. We're not going to put him out there today, but he's gotten a lot better just in those 2 days. So we'll see where it goes.
Brian, did you notice any?
Is there added excitement for prepping for the home opener, knowing, listen, the fans are going to be revved up coming off a big win?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you asked that. This has been a great spot for myself, and I know for the coaches and our families and the people around this community. And I understand how important the New York Football Giants are to a lot of people around here, and they're important to us. I mean, I've come across a lot of great people in this community and had some really good conversations. And I'm looking forward to being on this sideline where, it's always cool as a coach. You pull up to the parking lots, and you get a sense even before you go into the game of what kind of day the fans are going to have. And I love our fan base. I love the support. They're on you when it's bad, and they're supporting you when it's good. And that's the way it is. That's this area. That's just. I mean, I know I grew up in Western New York, not on the other side of it, but New York, New Jersey mentality. And I'm looking forward to having a packed house and them being as loud as they can be on third down or when Carolina's on offense. And they're pretty smart fans up here, so the more we can get in there, the better it'll be. And they're part of our team on home games. And I firmly believe that. Wherever I've been, the places that have great support like we do, you go into those places, it's hard. It's hard to communicate as an offense when you're on the other side, and you get a lot of energy when you're playing special teams and on defense. And we got to give them a reason to cheer too. And that's why we're working the way we're working and focused on what we're focused on.
Brian, did you notice anything from Kayvon on the sideline during the game? Did he bring an energy, or did he give anything?
In particular, no. I mean, he came up and hugged me kind of right after the game. And the thing I did appreciate about the guys that weren't playing, that were on the sideline, or playing, maybe not as much as they wanted to play, was the support of their teammates, how excited they were, talking to the guys on the bench, giving them indicators what they saw. KT running down the field cheering for Richie. We kicked the field goal. You see a back clip. Kadarius is 6 feet up in the air jumping, and he only played, what was it, Jordan? Seven snaps. So, that's what we're trying to build. It's not always going to be perfect. I'm certainly not going to be perfect, but the chemistry and the sticking together, we're going to have tough times. We all know that. So I think that's a testament to those guys.
We'll take one more. Is that okay, Jordan?
Huh? I didn't have anything. I'm good.
So is the challenge then to keep that going, that camaraderie, that chemistry, and continue that throughout the season?
Yeah, I think that's always a challenge because, again, you walk into a facility on a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning after you put everything you have into it. You put everything you have. Coaches, they don't sleep. Players, their bodies are sore. They're working through it. They're studying extra. They're meeting. They're getting up earlier. You put everything you got into it, and you fall short, whether it's by close or, you don't do a good enough job and it's by a lot. It weighs on you because it's important to you. And that's the type of people we want in our building, is people that it's really important to. So, it sucks. It sucks when you lose a game. And when you win a game, you're happy about it, but you turn the page rather quickly and focus on the things that are important to getting better. And that's, in the early part of the season, what we're going to try to do, really throughout the season, is just try to get better. And it's hard to not focus on results. It's hard. So I challenge those guys every day to focus on the things that they can control and that I can control. And if I make a mistake or they make a mistake, let's not make it the next time when we have an opportunity to nail it.